Does your money reflect your faith? Today, I want to go over 3 principles that we can do to manage our finances with wisdom. Hi, and welcome to Full Circle Purpose, where we strive towards maturity in every area of life. And today is finances. Growing up in the church, I learned as a child how important it was to tithe. It was essentially the full message that I received as a child, was that it was important to tithe. Not too much background or why it was important. It was just something God wanted me to do. As I've grown up, I've realized that it's not something that He wants me to do, but it's something that reflects my trust in Him as I do it. And it opens up opportunity for God to reward my trust in Him. Because without faith, it is impossible to please God. And I believe that through life, it is because of my tithe that I've had the protection of God over my finances. And it doesn't mean that I've always had the money for the things that I want, but I haven't gone without the things I need. In my life, I've struggled with some physical health issues, and some of it has put me out of work for some time. But with the money received by the state, that was still enough to cover my expenses, and the extreme generosity of others to help. It was so kind. They brought over food. I've had so many meals cooked for me, and I don't believe that I would have seen the kindness of others had I not been faithful in giving God the tithe. So we're not just talking about making more money here. We want to discuss how to manage our money wisely. So one, we want to honor God with our wealth. In Proverbs 3:9 says, "Honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits of your crops." This isn't about giving leftovers. It's about giving from the first of your increase. Sometimes we can get lost in the cultural context of the Bible, and so we have to put it into a modern day understanding where their fruits, their livelihood was tied up in their livestock, in the crops. And so from the harvest that they would receive from the land, they would give the first 10% of that to God in honor of Him and all that He's done. So for us, it's our paycheck. It's however we get paid, whatever our increase is, we are giving it back to God through giving it to our church. Secondly, we want to steward well what we have. In Luke 16, verse 10, it says, "Whoever can be trusted with little can also be trusted with much." We want to make sure with what we have, regardless of the actual amount that we have, that we are being trustworthy with that amount. And it is after that we pass that test that God will give us an increase, because He knows that we can be trusted with it. I think just the same as we wouldn't give our children free reign of our bank accounts because we don't know whether they'll spend it all on candy, Roblox, or other toys, games, and personal pleasures. They need to be trained in the way to steward well, and it is a responsibility that they have to show themselves faithful before we ever give them an increase. And so just as we do with our children, God does with us. So an action step that you can take is to just review your expenses. Go through and see if what you're spending is in alignment with how God would call you to spend your money. Are you spending in excess to what you're bringing in? In which case, you might want to bring that down so that it falls within the amount that you make. Because God doesn't want us living in the stress of debt. that puts on us. I have overspent before, and I know that it is an extreme amount of stress that wakes me up at night. And so then I'm not getting the good rest and sleep and the appropriate recovery that I need for the following day to do the works that God wants me to do. So it all impacts each other. So it is important that we don't live in debt, that we owe no man anything but to love him. In order to live free, we need to stay within the limits of our current budget. So thirdly, we are to live in contentment with what we have. Philippians 4:11 reminds us that true wealth isn't about having more. It's about being content in all circumstances. It's easy with all the social media and the highlight reels of everyone else's life constantly in our face, that it's no longer just the Joneses next door that we're trying to keep up with. It's everybody. It's the whole world. And so to have that constantly in front of your face, it's easy to see what you don't have, the things that you wish that you did. But if we would write down a list of the things that we're grateful for, it would bring gratitude back into our hearts. It would put life back into a perspective that we should be content with what we have, because we have a lot more than we think we do. We're just constantly seeing what others have that keeps us in this cycle of wanting more. But if we would focus on what we already do have, then we can live in contentment in a way God wants us to live. And then we can honor him with our finances and be a blessing to others. So I invite you to comment below about which of these principles will you work on this week, on a way to honor God with your finances, a way to steward what you have, or a way to be content with what you already do have. If you have found this video helpful, I invite you to like, share, and subscribe. Let's get this word out to as many people as we can so that we can all work on each area of our life and grow stronger as we grow in community. If you have found that this video helped you today, then I invite you to like, share, and subscribe so that you don't miss any content that's released, that we can get this word out to others who might need it, and that we can grow together.